All right, let's go ahead and get started. Um, not a, like I said, not a big crowd today, so we'll see how long this goes. Um, I'm trying to see if I recognize any of the names, but just if this is your first time on MVP Office Hours, really this is the Answers Community Live. So you can raise your hand, you can post in the chat, you can speak up when there's some dead space. Either way works. All we ask is you just mute your line during the call if you're not speaking, so we can hear questions and answers easily. My name is Jared Kingston. I work for Aperio as a consultant and head up the MVP Office Hours. And we have a whole slew of MVPs on today. And I'll just start at least the top of my list alphabetically. And Marty, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Marty Chang, consultant with Psalm Consulting, technical architects and developers, so that's my wheelhouse around the Salesforce arena.
Awesome. And then we have Shiv. Man, Shiv, you do everything, right? You join us over here. That's some serious dedication. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey, Jared. I'm Shiv. I'm a Salesforce and a Force.com MVP. I help run the office hours for the APAC, and I work with Groupon.
So Shiv got a lot of Groupon good Black Friday deals. Yeah, he's your Groupon guy. Steve Moe.
Steve Moles from Boston, and unlike those guys, I don't have any certs for technical architect or developer, but I know my way around reports and dashboards and formulas a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. Nice. And then Susan, I see you're on the line, but you posted that you wanted to dial a number. Are you there? Okay, Susan hasn't joined the audio yet, but we have Susan Thayer out of Omaha, Nebraska, and she's an admin whiz, we'll say. So, all right. So for those on the call, we can go ahead and take some questions here. So feel free to speak up.
Hi, this is Heather in Seattle. And
hey, Heather. Go ahead.
Hey, I have, it's a fairly comprehensive question. I'm not sure how to start doing this. We have not enabled yet in my organization the access levels for sharing report and dashboard folders. I think it was from like summer of like a year ago when that was released by Salesforce. Might have even been spring. I was wondering if anybody had any like best practices for even starting to do that. I know one of the big problems that I have is I have to go and like actually clean out a lot of crappy reports that nobody's used in a long time or dashboards. I think that might be a starting point. But as far as like turning the checkbox on and enabling it, does anybody have any advice or gotchas or good advice?
It's a good question. Anybody want to take that one? Just gonna go look.
I've run into a gotcha with that where when we turned it on, I had some scheduled reports and dashboards, and when I would go to change the distribution list of that dashboard, or I would create a new dashboard or report in that folder and go to schedule it, the number of people that the number of names that I was allowed to select, they were like, in some cases there was like only one or two names available, And previously that report would have a distribution list of like half dozen roles or 20, 30 individual users or stuff like that. And what I ended up having to do is go into the folder sharing settings and set up either the role, whatever I wanted to add. I had to set up them as a, at least a viewer of that report folder. There's something like if the folder is set up to have like view, everybody like has view all permission, it does a weird thing with the distribution list, the options available in the distribution list.
Okay, so basically that's something that I should probably look at beforehand.
Yeah. I'd look at the who's going to have access to the folder, and if there's any scheduled reports and dashboards in that folder. Do you have a complex role hierarchy, or how big is your org? Like how many users do you have? Like,
well, we have 1,500 users.
Okay. That'd definitely be something. If you've got a lot of reports or dashboards that have like where it get like be like a real pain would be like a report or a dashboard that has a lot of individually selected recipients, like user level recipients, as opposed to like role or group level recipients.
Okay.
And there may even be a fix for it. It may have been one of those like known issues that came up when they first deployed shared report folder sharing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I know I'm planning to do it probably not the beginning of next quarter, but it might be the beginning of Q2 in March when it's kind of really slow before everybody gets like crazy.
And then as far as cleanup goes, luckily they've got the mass delete report tool now.
I came across. I was really excited about that when they released it, but there are some gotchas on that too. They don't really have a view where you can see where the report is attached to a dashboard.
Yeah.
In that view.
That's a missing component. Now here's the thing though, it's not using the custom. Man, the way they name stuff is like a rat's nest sometimes. Not if you go to create a new report under admin reports, there's a report on custom reports. That's not what you want. What you need to do. Have you ever created a custom report type?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry. Sorry for talking down to you then, because sometimes somebody that's never created a custom report type. You say create a custom report type, and they think that you just mean create a custom report. So anyway, create a custom report type, and the object that you're going to select is the report object. And what that's going to give you, access to not just the report details, but dashboard details where that report is being used in a dashboard. So, unfortunately, you're leaving the mass delete tool, and you got to go to a report. So you kind of got to have like two browsers open almost. You could have the report open in one browser and the mass delete in another browser. But that will at least give you access to reports that are used as a component in a dashboard.
Okay, yeah, I do have. That's what I have been using. I've been using. We do have a report type.
Okay.
Reports with or without dashboards.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so you're way ahead. You know what you're doing, so you're going to be in good shape.
Okay, so basically work on getting all the crap cleaned out, and then in my sandbox turn on. I have some users that are fairly involved in making dashboards and reports, and they're the ones that I'm most worried about, having stuff mess up for them.
Yeah, you definitely want to take care of your power analytics users, because they're great to have. People that can write their own reports and dashboards are a godsend.
Yeah. Okay. That's a starting point. Thank you for telling me about the scheduled reports. That's a good one to look at.
Yeah, and don't quote me on that. That may have been an early known issue that's since been resolved. It was just something I ran into.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Steve. All right. Who else has a question?
This is Thomas from Washington D.C. So I'm in the position of archiving a bunch of tasks. We have or archiving or maybe just deleting. We have like 4.4 million of them, and sort of I'm starting with deleting. Sort of we use vertical response at some point, so I'm going through and deleting that stuff, dating all the way back to like 2005, 2006. I was wondering, like, our support folks are fairly tied to making sure they have all the tasks that are associated with cases. I think I found a way to do that by looking at the what ID and the looking at the first three characters. The 500 I think indicates a case. So, but I'm just wondering, is anybody have any other tips in terms of doing this? Tips and general other types of tasks that are safe to go after? I'm kind of finding maybe some autoresponders that I could go after, but kind of just any general advice in this area. And I got a follow up after this one, but I'll start with this.
Any of the MVPs want to take that one?
I'll take that one. This is Susan Thayer. I missed the introductions earlier. I apologize. I had trouble dialing in. But vertical response definitely can eat up a lot of your activities. The fact that you have them from 2005 is way more email activities than you need to keep. Most companies are keeping a year, maybe 2 years of emails from email blasts, which I'm assuming is what you're using vertical response for. Simply because in the digital marketing world, if it's over 6 months, it's dead. It's meaningless information. And you should have all that already in the vertical response database that your marketing team is using. So that is safe to get rid of. I would go even, you mentioned 2005, 2006. I would get a lot more, maybe go back 3 years. So go all the way back to 2011, 2012, and delete anything older than that. But talk to your marketing team first and see what they need that for.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, actually, I'm getting rid of it completely. The vertical response, I think we stopped using in 2009 or something, so I'm just going back and clearing everything out.
So how much difference will that make in your storage? Will that be sufficient?
Well, I think to be honest, I think we're overpaying for storage. Like, I just joined the company about a year ago and been doing lots of other things until finally hitting this one. But I did a purge sort of when I just started that saved us about 1 gigabyte of storage. And then this will be about 388,000 emails or tasks that I'm going to be deleting in this cleanup. So that'll be another, that'll be, I think, at least half a gig. But yeah, in general, it's just, my users are very tied to keeping their tasks and searching for them, even especially on the support end. I can understand why. I even found out recently that Salesforce has this auto archive thing where they automatically remove tasks from the index, usually after 365 days. I found that somehow my org got grandfathered into keeping everything up to 10 years. Currently, their knowledge base article says they only supported up to 5, but somehow we have up to 10 years. So I'm sure that's causing some performance things. But just trying to figure out how to balance the user requirement of wanting to search through all that history while dealing with the sort of storage issues and just sort of general performance issues. Like, we can hardly run any reports on tasks that are longer than a week just because it it takes so long. So yeah. So the second part to my question, I guess, is how are other organizations dealing with, or do they have sort of data hogs in their organization as well? And how do you deal with, are you sort of replicating to another place where it's searchable to become sort of a knowledge base kind of thing, or do you just have strict policies about not doing it, or are there other search engines out there that will help? I recently looked at a product demo of Kona, which I guess searches, it's sort of a meta search on top of Salesforce, but that would require me keeping the data in Salesforce. So, sorry, a little bit all over the place, but if anyone pick up on any of those strands, I'm happy to hear input.
I just would like to add a small bit to that. We did face this issue earlier in one of my clients' orgs where the data was too much. It was slowing down because they had too many cases coming in. What we did is use a tool called DBAMP to replicate it to the SQL database, and then they had their own, I don't remember which application, which helps in searching. It's just a website, an internal website that they use to search, which is very similar to Salesforce Search. The biggest advantage that I saw there was they could continuously archive the data from Salesforce into this SQL database and keep the Salesforce clean. And they did that for any data that's more than 2 years old. But then this depends. Earlier, I would have suggested database.com, which was more easier, but now it's no longer available. But, yeah.
And you said they use something called DBM. What's that product?
DBAMP. DBAMP. A-M-P. Okay. I'll post the name in the web.
Okay, and then what was the search tool that they put on top of it? Was that a custom built out tool?
I think so. I'm not really sure, but that is not the tough part because there are a lot of open source or free tools that are available that can lay over the SQL database that can give you the search functionality. I think that's the easy part.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious, are there the other people on the phone, are there other orgs that are doing this in terms of sort of archiving the data? I mean, how common is it to move it out of Salesforce or just get rid of, like one way I could see it is like, hey, we need to keep it, so move it out. The other is just get rid of it because it's no longer relevant. I'm curious what other folks are doing.
Both are quite common because at a certain point it's just information that is slowing the system down. So it's very common for people to have an archive policy. So work with your business users and determine what should that policy be for your company, because it does vary depending on how you're using it and what you're using it for. But most companies have a policy on how they review data and what they do with it after a certain time period.
Yeah, this is Jared. At my last company, when I was an administrator, we definitely did that pretty frequently because we were just running into storage limits ourselves in certain areas and with certain types of data. And really, yeah, what it came down to is we had to move that data, off of Salesforce, and most of it was pretty old data, if you will. Several years, so that was okay. But yeah, we just took the data that we basically looked at all the different data that was taking up storage, and then said, okay, what's the least important data that we can move off, and what makes sense to move off that we're not reporting that far back on, and let's move that. And that's basically what we did to clean it up, if you will. So.
Okay, thanks. I guess I've been reluctant to sort of build another system just to house this data, but I guess it seems like it's pretty common practice and seems like might be something that we need to undertake if our users are so bent on keeping all the data. So thank you.
Just want to add one more point that I just saw from Andrew Fassett. You can also use a new feature from Salesforce called external objects, which actually can link to your external system like SharePoint, where you can export the data into, and it's directly searchable in Salesforce. So I would urge you to take a look at it. All you will have to do is export the data and connect it via external objects into Salesforce, and it will be as native as it is currently.
Okay, thanks. I'll look at that. And does it only, like, what else? I guess, are there a couple different things it connects to? Is SharePoint the?
Yeah, SharePoint and some other also. So basically, it relies on OData protocol. So currently, I think there are a couple of providers that it supports. You can definitely take a look. It has a list of providers.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. Yeah, thanks, guys. Here, and yeah, I'll post what Shiv posted in the chat. Who else has a question? Somebody else has a question. I will actually ask my own question that I ran into the other day. Has anybody worked with the if anybody's using quotes or has used quotes and done the custom fields on an opportunity product, and they currently don't sync over to custom fields on a quote line item, and there's a package out there from Salesforce Labs that requires some work to the test class on it, and I just wasn't sure if anybody had used anything different or have even done that and what they've done.
Yeah, Jared, I'm not sure there's I don't know of an app that will do it or is easy to configure that will do pretty much what you want. I think you would need some kind of an automated solution to help you keep those things in sync.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I've used that one before, and it worked pretty well. Like I said, we had to obviously update the test class and some of the code, but overall it's pretty good. I just didn't know if there's anything else that people have done. So cool. Anybody else have a question? Feel free to, don't be shy. Haven't heard from Teresa or Reed. You guys just listening in or have anything we can help out with?
I don't have anything.
Yeah, and I'm kind of just checking in. I used to be a Salesforce administrator, and I let it lapse since I'm trying to decide if I want to go get it done again and trying to get back into stuff.
Awesome.
This is Thomas. I can throw another one out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with account hierarchies, I was actually on this call maybe like 4 or 5 months ago talking about asking questions about hierarchies. We're finally getting around to sort of implementing it in a way that makes sense to our organization, and it's really a very simple one-level hierarchy. There's like we're using data.com Premium Clean and using the DUNS Global Ultimate field, which is basically like, it's kind of like the parent company. It doesn't matter if you're if like, let's just say Salesforce, Deloitte, Salesforce in India or France or whatever, it all roll up to the main international headquarters. So we're deploying a trigger that sort of just automatically builds that hierarchy using that data. I'm kind of curious if anybody has any warnings or gotchas about hierarchies and sort of maintaining them. What we're planning on doing is to use that to sort of get as much as we can automated, and then sort of use the manual cleans and sort of manual building of those hierarchies. We also deployed Parent Fixer because we do by CRM Fusion, because we do account merges. So I'm just kind of curious if anyone has gone down this path before and any other things we should watch out for. But we are really sticking strictly to the one level, and it gives us what we need, because we can go to the parent and find out who all the children are and sort of do some reporting based on that simple hierarchy. But so yeah, any warnings or gotchas or anything?
But just to confirm the question, it's you're talking about having two sets of hierarchies.
It's actually just one. We're just gonna use the sort of out of the box. So let's just say so it's Salesforce India, Salesforce France, Salesforce, and then there's like Salesforce and San Francisco, and that's the headquarters, right? So what data.com will do is, okay, here's the Salesforce France DUNS number, attach that, and then it can look up in the tree, and it's sort of like, oh, okay, it goes all the way up to Salesforce, San Francisco. And so basically what our trigger does, it takes France and it makes its parent San Francisco, right? Even though there might be multiple different legal entities within France that roll up to a French that then rolls up to the global headquarters, we're just going to sort of go straight from whatever entity it is direct up to the sort of the global headquarters. And so we've built a trigger to do that. So it's really just one level of hierarchy. It's not it's just sort of parent and child, and that's pretty much it. So it's very simple, but I think it'll get us what we need.
And you're just asking for validation regarding whether or not that's an okay approach.
And I guess it's just more. So this is like I've in other orgs I work with is like we've kind of done hierarchies and so well we haven't really done it, and we certainly haven't automated the creation of those, and so I'm just kind of wondering if other people have experience. I think on the last call I was one, someone suggested that I look at Parent Fixer because when you merge, I guess it can sort of splinter the hierarchy and sort of can mess that up when you merge different accounts. So that was sort of a good tip that I got from there, and we're deploying that as part of this. I'm just wondering if there's other advice or other people who have done a lot with hierarchies and just certain things to watch out for. So it's more kind of, yeah, like when we're deploying this, is there anything should be wary of?
Just a few comments on that. Some people don't particularly like the parent accounts because there is some rigidity built into it. In particular, they would like to change some of the fields that display on the hierarchy page. So I don't know if that's an issue for you or not, but that's something to consider.
Okay.
Some organizations essentially replicate that if they have complex account relationships. So they almost create like an account-related list on the account page itself, so you can have kind of many relationships, and it's basically a related list that displays at the top of the page. It really depends on how you're using it. It sounds like parent-child is sufficient for you guys, but if you ever got into a need to display other relationships, other kind of roles that they have with each other, that's something to consider.
Okay, got it. So you're saying that I can't customize what fields show, like if I click on that view hierarchy link, I can't customize what shows up on that page. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks. That's helpful. Actually, I didn't consider that. Thank you.
What fields are you trying to add to the view hierarchy?
I don't have a particular one. It's just like because it hasn't come up. Like I've done demos of this and I've shown our users and they haven't asked for anything there. But I like to. Yeah, I could. They probably do. Will ask for something there.
I forget the name of it. There was a Force. I might have been on my dev org. There was a Force.com Labs app that I had installed on one of my dev orgs that allowed you to add custom fields. It was kind of nice looking little app. Let me. I'll dig it up and post it in the feed if I can find it.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Who else has a question?
Oh, just one other thing that I got to thinking of now. I was thinking about accounts. Account site is something that I think is a really cool tool. A lot of people aren't using it. So if you have in your situation a bunch of subsidiaries, you might consider using that account site field. And what I like to do is create a workflow to pre-populate that field with maybe city state or whatever it might be. So that's a nice field for distinguishing when you have very similar sounding accounts. So instead of putting the city state in the name of the account, we use the account site field for that.
Thanks. That's a good idea. Thank you.
I just found it. It's called Inline Account Hierarchy, and it's available it's from Force.com Labs.
Great. Thank you.
You can definitely add custom fields to it.
Yeah.
It does not use S controls. Wow. It's like 2008 came out. Let me just drop that into the GoToMeeting.
That's awesome. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I actually used that a couple companies ago as an admin, and it and we added some custom fields to it. It's pretty basic. Works pretty well. I liked it. Posted in the broadcast all there, so you can see it. Awesome. Thanks for hunting that down, Steve Mo.
I never throw anything out.
That's right.
I might have like 9 orgs I have to look it up on, but it's out there somewhere.
That's right. You mean it's not included in like the Steve Mo package that Reed put together? Who else has a question? Any? Bueller? All right. Well, I mean, if nobody else has any questions, we don't have to sit around and wait for them. We can certainly end early. So, if nobody has any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And appreciate everybody joining today on this light day. We'll play it by ear. Let me just look real quick at I haven't even actually looked out the schedule. We will, our next one will be the 19th, and then we'll probably be off for one, just because it'll be right after New Year's, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be taking off. So
we should do a New Year's Eve one at like on the start of 11.
New Year's Eve, yeah. New Year's Eve MVP office hours. Yeah. It has potential for sure.
Potential for what? I'm not sure, but it's got potential. Potential for disaster.
Well, something. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot again for joining. And as always, if you have any feedback for improvements, let us know. We'd be happy to listen. So everyone have a good weekend, and thanks, MVPs, for your time.
Thank you all very much.
Guys.
Thank